Hello and good afternoon and welcome to Better Than Before live online on Facebook. I'm Dave Edelstein here to talk about, as always, communication skills, particularly in these days. We're doing a series about assertiveness and assertive communication and why this is so important if one is really going to have a properly developed life. Thanks for tuning in. Some people are just hung up on the idea that they can't be assertive, that somehow putting themselves forward or expressing themselves frankly is a violation of some kind of social taboo, that perhaps other people can stand up and be counted, but that this is not for them, that there's something undignified about it or inappropriate about it. But really, the opposite is true. We're afraid to be seen as blowing our own horn or bragging, and that's not what assertiveness is about. Assertiveness is about stating the facts. Assertiveness is about being honest. So when an issue comes up at work, the assertive person says, yeah, I can handle that. Maybe you're not 100% sure that you can handle that, but you'll find a way. You're competent, you're capable, you're able, you've figured out more difficult things than this before. Why hold back? You can do it. You can do it. It's not unreasonable to believe that you're just as capable of doing this as anybody else in your work group. You were all hired based on similar skills. You can handle this. You can volunteer yourself. If the situation is a communication situation, some people are hesitant. Oh, I shouldn't really lay it on the line. I shouldn't really say the way I think this is. Well, sure. There are questions of tone and questions of word choice and questions of presenting things in a dignified, unemotional, fact-based, data-driven manner. But if you can do that, you can present your point of view. If what you have to say is, well, this just makes me uncomfortable, well, okay, but you should at least be prepared to say the facts of why that might be true. This makes me uncomfortable. So you have a hunch that there's something wrong with this approach. Where is this hunch coming from? Is it emotional? Are you afraid? Is it that there's going to be a lot of work involved for you and you're afraid of that? Or you're not sure how you're going to accomplish your part of that? Okay, these are not problems for the group. These are things that you will have to overcome. But if you hide a reason for fear that has to do with the project itself, with what will be achieved, and you hide that from the group, you're not helping. You're part of that problem. Maybe you saw something that no one else saw. You have to let that out. Hi, Jacob. Thanks for tuning in. Hiding what you know, or even what you think you know, is not helpful to other people. No one can read your mind. Sure, there are things that we want to say that sometimes do make us afraid of how other people will react. But if they come from an honest place, if we're speaking assertively, not emotionally, not hysterically, not aggressively, there's no reason to hold that back. If we have to represent our own interests, if we have to represent our business's interest to an external provider, we have to defend. It is assertive to say, this is the deal that I want. You may not be able to get that deal. You may have to negotiate. You'll have to negotiate assertively. You don't have to negotiate hysterically. You don't have to negotiate aggressively that you're going to rip the other person off before they rip you off. That will not promote the health of your business long term. It's good to have long-term, reliable, solid, trustable relationships with your external clients and sources. And you'll have that if you deal honestly. You won't have that if you deal passively. You won't have that if you don't represent your business's interests, if you don't represent your own interests. And just let people have their way with your business. That's not a proper way to run a business. It's not self-respecting. It's not respectful of the other people who depend on your business. You have to step up and speak up. And there's nothing unfair or sneaky or greedy about saying, I want this kind of deal. I understand what your pricing structure is like. I understand what my pricing structure is like. I understand my budget. I have to look for the best deal for my company. And if we have a good deal, if we make a good relationship, there will be future business. Both businesses will grow. There's something in assertiveness for everyone. Because people understand each other better. Because the truth comes out. Because things are fact-driven. Because things are not emotional. Because it isn't stressful to deal with someone who's speaking honestly, straightforward, not tricky. A lot of that isn't even aggressive, it's passive, it's sneaky. You're trying to slide something by the other person. This doesn't make things work better. So there's no need to fear being assertive. When you're assertive, people understand that you're trying to be real with them. That encourages them to be real with you. Sure, maintaining a healthy skepticism is part of assertive communication. You don't have to believe everything people tell you. Part of assertiveness is listening actively and checking up on what you hear, checking back with the person who's speaking, and perhaps returning to your office and checking the facts and figures that have been offered. You don't want to get swept up in a wave of emotion. You want to be assertive. You want to live in the real world. The real world isn't a bad place to live. It's all we got. So thanks for tuning in. Look forward to speaking with you again tomorrow. Perhaps again I will have a nice sunlit Cuenca afternoon to brighten my video. And I'll see you then.